Hey there. You didn't think I'd be gone for much longer, did you? Technically, I am still gone. This is a different microphone setup than what I usually have, so hopefully the audio isn't too bad. Issue 26 of Transformers Skybound just launched, and as a reminder, this is not a recap for what happened. My good friend Swizz Prime handles that amazingly over on his channel, as well as you can find my extended thoughts on this as well as a rating on the Teletran Tapes podcast, which is on YouTube, and all the different streaming platforms that have podcasts on it. But for now, let's just talk about this issue because this one has really put a lot of my uneasy thoughts from issue 25 to rest. I love the fact that just jumping straight into it, we're getting a lot more of Thundercracker. I feel like he has one of the most interesting stories within this continuity, and I also feel like he's been somewhat sidelined from the past. Watching him fight against Jazz and Wheeljack is awesome, but what's even cooler is to see Ultra Magnus step in and just lay waste to him. But even more so than that is the interaction that Thundercracker has with Optimus. We kind of had an idea that this was coming from the issue 27 cover, but to see it fully realized is really interesting. But even more interesting than that to me is the dynamic that's forming between Optimus and Ultra Magnus. Optimus is lending out a helping hand to Thundercracker here, and Magnus is not really a fan of this because, after all, they're at war, and Ultra Magnus has suffered greatly from the Decepticons. We're getting a whole lot more Flag in here as well, and I'm happy that Wheeljack has a different character to kind of jump off of. I feel like his interactions with Prime were getting pretty hostile for a good reason, but having Wheeljack talk with Flag and kind of have them interact and interface with each other is really nice. In the past, I've talked about how I really did not want Thundercracker to just become an Autobot, and that's kind of where things seem to be going. I hope he keeps his Decepticon badge. I hope he understands that he truly is a Decepticon in his heart. He doesn't agree with where the faction is currently. Optimus and Ultra Magnus continue to have this issue, especially when Optimus gives Soundwave some energon. And this is a really cool interaction between the two, as Soundwave is like, look, I'm not gonna, switch over to the Autobots. I'm not here to help you out. And Optimus is like, you're right, I tried my best, but still at the end of the day, here's the energon you need to survive. I'm also super happy that we're finally getting back to Carly and Spike. I felt very strange that they were not in issue 25. This is not uncommon in this series to put a character to the side for an issue so we can focus in on other things, but the fact that these two primary human characters were nowhere to be seen made me worried that they may have been dropped from the story. Of course, we have an alternate cover for this issue that's great that we had seen before with Carly and Shredhead, and so we knew they would be in the story, but I was just worried that maybe their stories had kind of come to an end off page. But this interaction between Carly and Spike, where they're talking with each other, and Carly embraces Spike, and she says, you sound just like him, and Spike is like, oh, my dad? And she says, no, Optimus Prime. It's just a really heartfelt, amazing scene that is kind of bookended with Shredhead learning to fit into these new people that he really doesn't know anything about. The stuff on Cybertron is also really good. I have to admit, I think Robert Kirkman is doing a good job juggling all these different storylines that he's adopted after Daniel Warren Johnson left off. The Cybertron stuff kind of tends to take a back seat, and I'm okay with that. Of course, we get to see a lot of Autobot bodies laying around, so these are potential characters that could come into the series, but I really want to focus in on Dan Mora's art at the end of this section, where it's literally just Alita giving Cliffjumper the stare, and he's staring back at her. There's so much emotion and storytelling just within these two panels, and this is only one page, and I feel like we've kind of gotten used to that, the Cybertron storyline really only getting 1 or 2 pages. And I actually kind of like that because I feel like its story is slowly evolving and being set up for something much bigger that's going to come to a head soon. The speech that Optimus gives to Skywarp when he's brought back online is just amazing. The dialogue that has been written here for Optimus in this entire issue, I think, is top-notch. It really shows us the care and kindful kind of gentle giant leader that Optimus is, that even his enemies he's going to try and help in these situations. Of course, this is where that back and forth between him and Magnus kind of comes into play, that they're still Decepticons and Autobots at the end of the day. But what I love is that that conflict really unfolds and is manifested between Thundercracker and Skywarp. You know, Thundercracker has literally gone to the ends of the earth to get Skywarp back. And now that he's back, he's telling him that they need to take a moment to think about what their next move is. But of course, when it comes to faction loyalty, Skywarp is loyal to the Decepticon cause. He's not been around for a while. He is a true loyal patriot, if you will, to the Decepticons. And that's an issue. It's such an issue, in fact, that Skywarp, Thundercracker's brother, kind of throws him under the bus by saying that he was always weak and that the Decepticons don't need him and that he won't be missed. This image of Skywarp kind of holding onto his jaw after getting hit by his brother and throwing him under the bus, and then the reaction from Thundercracker is just, it's really impactful and it's really powerful. This is where I'm starting to get a little worried here when Thundercracker says that he's chosen his side. Again, I'm not opposed to the idea of Thundercracker working with the Autobots, but I feel like if next issue he's just got an Autobot insignia on him, to me that would feel a little cheap. Let him keep his Decepticon insignia. That's more than just a symbol. It's almost a faith, you know? It's a clan, it's a family. I don't think he would throw that away. I think he would just be working with the Autobots while he's still conflicted. It's this conflict that I enjoy between Thundercracker and now Ultra Magnus and all these other characters that, you know, he's still in his heart, or in his spark, will you, a Decepticon. And so it's going to be interesting how he manages to survive in this world now. Finally, the end of the comic is where I have a little bit of issue. It's nice to see Megatron and his goons again, but I feel like if new readers are jumping into the series with the start of 25, this ending, while very cool and very much a callback to issue 19, if they haven't kept up, they're going to be a little confused as to what's going on here. Again, it's not the end of the world. I still think that this issue is great. I definitely enjoyed it much more than 25. That's probably also because the transition period between Daniel Warren Johnson and Robert Kirkman and Jorge Corona and Dan Mora has subsided with me. But I really did enjoy this, especially also, I will admit, because we're finally getting that payoff of Thundercracker and Skywarp. It's been such a long time since that started, and so to finally be able to see the fruits of all that labor is really, really nice. Again, it's also great to see the interactions between Optimus and Ultra Magnus, and how that's kind of also mirrored between the brothers Thundercracker and Skywarp. All of these characters are kind of in a brotherly relationship, and they all have different opinions, and they're all trying to navigate their relationships, even though they fundamentally disagree with each other. So I really enjoyed this issue. I'm looking forward to issue 27. Of course, I wasn't going to drop the series, but issue 25 left me a little concerned. This one, this hasn't brought me back fully to saying that this is absolutely awesome. I know a lot of people have stopped collecting the single issues of this and are just going to go to the trade paperback. I think that's still a good idea. This issue is definitely a step up from the last one, especially in the dialogue, but I think overall we're in good hands. I do also want to point out that in my physical copy, and here's a little image of it, they accidentally left some lorem ipsum print text in one of these pages with Megatron. So I know some of the digital copies have been delayed. I don't know if that's the reason, but mistakes happen, I get it. But it's definitely just funny to see something like that pop up here. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below with this issue. Also, if you're interested in the larger Energon universe, such as G.I. Joe and Void Rivals, I'm actually covering those series now on my second channel. I wanted to keep Delta Trion focused on Transformers, and so my second channel, which I've linked down below, has the videos for those series. So the Energon universe is popping, it's moving fast, a lot's going on, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying where we're going, and I'm intrigued to see what's coming next.